Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Damo, and on today's pedal out video we're going to do another infamous pedal out, slightly odd comparison. So regular viewers to the channel will know that we've done some quite unusual, let's say a little bit different comparisons over the years. And now, today, we're comparing the Mark II 3.2 Audi TT against the 1966 Volkswagen 1300 Karmann Ghia. A side-by-side comparison of these two cars isn't really fair. They're decades apart in terms of development, but the original Audi TT, the Mark I, was sometimes referred to as the spiritual successor of the Karmann Ghia, and not that horrible thing that Peugeot created, which we won't talk about. The TT is obviously safer, newer, quicker and more comfortable. The Karmann Ghia is older, slower, a little bit clunkier, and a little bit flakier.
However, there are some similarities. Back in 1999, when the TT first launched, it was often seen as the spiritual successor to the Karmann Ghia. Born from the Volkswagen Audi group, the TT's pleasing design was draped over a Golf platform. If you're a Ghia fan, you can see where this is going, and the similarities don't stop there. These cars are both 2+2 coupes. They both had their fair share of contemporary Porsche rivals, and they were both designed by Italians.
The Mark I TT may have been designed by the Germans, but the Mark II was designed by Walter de Silva. He was born in Italy, worked for Fiat and Alfa Romeo, so that makes him more Italian than the Piaggio Ape. They're those little three-wheel buzzy things you get flying around Italy all the time.
Ciao.
So how do you go about comparing a 1966 Karmann Ghia with a more modern Mark II Audi TT? Well, let's take a look at the times. British cars versus imported ones. In 1966, when this car was new, it was rare. VWs were rare. Back then, 95% of cars on British roads were British. Austins, MGs, Fords, they were everywhere. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and nearly 33% of all cars on British roads are German, and nearly 7% of those are Audi. Back in 1999, when the TT first launched, they were super popular. People really wanted to get hold of them. So much so that a lot of people imported them themselves in left-hand drive versions. Similarly, in 1956, the first Ghias into the UK were only available in left-hand drive. So in a world of 95% British cars, this pretty coupe from VW, based on the trusty Beetle, was somewhat unique. In the early 2000s, Volkswagen and Audi were obviously a lot more well known, and draping a lovely elegant body over a Golf chassis really worked for them. And they sold loads of Audi TTs to the tune of, for every one Boxster that Porsche sold, Audi sold 3 TTs. The Karmann Ghia's sales success was limited in the UK, where British brands dominated and the Beetle sold in higher numbers. Swinging 60s attitudes and brick car production issues aside, the 60s really were a decade of brick car rules. When both these cars were new, they were relatively expensive compared to other alternatives. In 1966, when this car was brand new in the UK, it would have cost between 900 and 1200 British pounds. Now, just to put that into context, that was about 134% of the average UK salary. In 2007, when this car was new, it would have cost between 24 and 31,000 British pounds, about 130% of the UK's average salary at the time. So both the Karmann Ghia and the TT are pretty much on par. For uniqueness and exclusivity, the Karmann Ghia reigns supreme. In the UK and the US, wait times were sometimes as much as 2 to 4 years, largely due to the handcrafted production process that was used to build them. Karmann basically couldn't make them fast enough. When the first TT came out, it made a really big splash due to its quirkiness, but by the time Audi launched the Mark II Audi TT, some of its uniqueness and peculiarity had been lost a little bit. It was following the more standard design of Audi models at the time and inherited that kind of classic Audi corporate grille. Speed and acceleration weren't really a massive deal in the 60s, even though there were fewer cars on the road and no speed cameras.
The Volkswagen Karmann Ghia is the most economical sports car you can buy. It's just not the most powerful.
The TT, on the other hand, came in a range of base models, but something that was never really lacking across the range of the TT was performance, especially at the higher end where you had the 3.2 like this one, and then the TTS and TTRS.
So, which one wins? Well, disappointingly, none of them. We've looked at how they compare against each other in their respective time periods. The for and against arguments don't really stack up. These cars are classics in their own time, and that means they're both winners. Alright, as ever, thanks for watching this pedal out video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget, if you haven't done already, subscribe to the channel, click the little bell icon, and then you get notified whenever we do another video. Cheers.